the Senate. Any person who is under any acknowledgement or allegiance of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to a foreign power, okay, or is a subject or a citizen, or entitled to the rights or privileges of a subject or a citizen of a foreign power, okay, then they can be disqualified.
When you say that foreign power, does that mean like overseas other countries' foreign power,
Well,
or just
foreign power.
foreign power?
Foreign power is anything outside of the jurisdiction laid down by the Constitution and the laws of the Commonwealth. Okay. So, the first question that I would put once I've read this Constitution is, well, what's a political party? Okay, political parties are foreign power because they are forming a barrier between the people and your elected representative. Okay. So the Constitution does not define in any way, shape or form Liberal, Labor, Greens or any other form of party. Unfortunately, in 1975, there was about 5 questions put to the Australian people in the referendum, and question 2, I think it was asking the Australian people to approve casual vacancies of the Senate.
That's good.
Okay. And we said yes. Now, unfortunately, in that question, it included the words political party. So all they did was they took those 2 words from that question and they included it into Section 15 of our Constitution. But because that wasn't annotated, okay, it wasn't defined, those 2 words hang there without definition. Okay. So the failing of the system to substantiate anything they've done with respect to a yes vote from the people is wanting. And for people like myself who've been studying the Constitution, this is the sort of questions that need to be put to our elected representatives to wake them up. Now, we had a meeting recently with the Attorney General Victoria, myself, Kelvin and I, and this sort of dialogue is required of all of us. Okay. What we came out of that meeting with more than anything, I know personally, I felt that there was a desire of the parliamentarians to hear more of what we want and what we're going through, because there is a definite layer of bureaucratic layer that exists that advises these parliamentarians, and they have effectively taken control. Now, they do it under the heading of a political banner or a political party banner or whatever, but they create that barrier between us and them. And this is why a lot of people are suffering, because the bureaucrats are advising them to the way they see things should be happening, be it under whatever foreign banner that would be, and not what the people, their constituents, really want. So to overcome that, we need to establish a dialogue with our local member, state and federal, and to tie in a meeting as a result of that first meeting with either the Attorney General who draft these laws or the Minister responsible with respect to your particular complaint. Now, I know a lot of people here are complaining in particular about local government and the behaviour of local government. So then we'd be making an appointment with our member, our state member, asking that state member to hook up a meeting with the Minister for Local Government and stating, well, hang on, we've got some real problems here. Why are you doing what you're doing when you don't have any recognition in the Constitution? Okay, now one of the other things that stand out is that local government don't exist in this Constitution. They treat us unfairly, but one of the problems that we've this is why I say it's also important in this that we understand our referendum history. Okay, now it's very interesting when you read the referendums since 1906, you'll see that a lot of the problems that we're suffering now they were putting questions to us in the very early part of the 20th century to bring about what they're doing now regardless. And one of those was to bring in the power of corporations. They asked that question in 1913 and the Australian people knocked them back. So the Commonwealth Constitution, or the question was to alter the Constitution to nationalise corporations. So that is to bring in a law binding corporations. And we said no, it wasn't carried. Another question in the same year was to alter the Constitution to nationalise monopolies. And we said no. So they can't exercise any form of monopoly, and they cannot exercise any form of law binding a corporation.
What's an example of a monopoly which they would like to obtain?
Okay, a good example of a monopoly is a driver's licence.
Yeah. It was.
Okay, a state cannot impose a driver's licence.
So you actually don't really need one?
Well, the
Really?
driver's licence, because it breaks two sections of our Constitution, Section 90.
I actually did a kick and scream about, because I come from Queensland, they changed the driver's licence over to have a microchip in the licences to make it a lot harder for people to steal other people's identities. But what they don't seem to understand is you can actually buy those little microchips off the internet for $4 off of whatever details you want on there. Now, I kicked and screamed when I went in there because I wanted just an old driver's licence, a normal one. I'm sorry, but we can't do that. That is not available to us anymore. And I ranted and raved a little bit, but I had no choice. But now that I'm finding about this, I'm just a little bit more into it.
Well, I don't have a licence. Mine expired last year and I've not had one. And I lied to a copper the other day.
I will actually show you guys. It is a proper driver's license
With an RFID
with an RFID
Same
chip
thing
in
if
it.
you use credit card. I've seen the new ones that they have
Like a
here.
passport, is it?
Yes, yes, but without the paper, and it's not a holographic chip, it's like the ones in your credit card.
For probably about 5 months.
I wonder what sort of information they put on it.
Everything, all the medical. I actually got in touch with RTA down here when they said about, and licences now go to a new secure location. And that takes 6 weeks to get now. Of course, it's all security and protected. And so I wrote to RTA and I said, well, I know about the RFID chips and what information can be contained in that and what they're about. I don't want one in my new licence, and if they actually told me that I won't have a licence, and I was assured, I got a response back and I was assured there was no RFID chip in them. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
What's the constitutional thing that you can draw about having a licence like that, or that information in relation to saying that, do you agree with that, you want to be not religious sovereignty in that?
Does not stop it.
Because the parliaments are sovereign in their own thinking, that means you become property of them.
Steal your identity.
No.
is that
Because they hold the information to transfer it freely, that you've been able to check it to anyone they want.
No, I'll explain why. But if we read Section 90, okay, on the imposition of uniform duties and customs, the power of the Parliament to impose duties and customs and of excise, okay, and to grant bounties on the production or export of goods shall become exclusive, okay. So what it's saying is that only the federal Parliament can bring about any excise. States do not have the capacity to bring about any excise. A driver's licence is a tax.
Yep.
Okay, it's just a tax.
Funny, mate.
Okay, we go to section 92. On the imposition of uniform duties of customs and commerce, trade, commerce and intercourse among the states, whether by means of internal carriage or ocean navigation, shall be absolutely free.
Oh, you little ripper.
Okay. So that also entails that all internal carriageways are Commonwealth. So that every road is Commonwealth jurisdiction.
So no tolls, we shouldn't have to be paying tolls or anything else.
Well, funnily enough, tolls have been around English law for hundreds of years. And the first toll road was established here in Melbourne back in the late part of the 19th century. There was a park in Murrelbark, in a park, that commemorates the first toll road. Okay, so toll roads, they can bring about a toll road, but they fall flat on their face when they impose a fine for using that toll road without paying.
Righto. I actually won a couple of those.
Nigel, one of the biggest problems with what we're trying to communicate here is, and I've been doing this for over 10 years, is there are a lot of groups around Australia who are trying to bring about a similar message. But there are slight differences. You know, one I reflected on earlier, where there are some groups saying that the Commonwealth Constitution is invalid because Queen Victoria didn't sign it off. Okay, and a lot of those groups actually have that as their foundation to work on, which then they basically say then all Commonwealth law is ridiculous, forget all the laws here in Australia, we've got to go back and fall and swing from trees and crawl out of caves.
Why would you bother on anything if that's the case?
Well, the thing is, what they're trying to do is they're then trying to bring in the American laws, they're trying to bring in the misbehaviour of the different systems and how they're bringing about all this commercialisation of us all. And then tie that in with a commercial law, basically it's called UCC, and then you fall into a trap. Okay. You step out of the jurisdiction that's been created here under this document. Okay.
Section 92 was the subject of a lot of problems in the transport industry after the last war, road taxes.
Yeah. Now it's been argued a lot in the High Court, Section 92, but we'll look back at the first paragraph and we'll note the words trade, commerce and intercourse among the states. Okay, what does the word among immediately bring about in your mind?
All of
With each other, mixed
No, no.
in.
Within.
Yep.
Within. Now the High Court have continually said when there's been a challenge to a transport driver taking his goods from Melbourne to Wodonga and then claiming that he falls under Section 92, so there should be no imposition or duty applied to his load, and the High Court have said no, sorry, our interpretation of this section is that it's only between states. So you can travel, when you travel from Melbourne to Albury, yes, you can claim Section 92, but not Albury to Wodonga. Now, but this has been happening. I've read the transcripts of a lot of these cases, and the High Court is wrong. Okay, and
Find among in the dictionary.
among
Which
in the
we had a bit of
dictionary-
trouble doing, didn't we?
We did. We had a lot of trouble trying to find
Find
that
a
word
dictionary that's
among.
got the word among on it. It's a substantial dictionary you can use. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy, but it's there.
It is. We found one in a little pocket bloody thing that you're going to give your kids.
But there's something that you need to also understand, and this is something that the courts can baffle a lot of us with, and that is that when you read any section of